Okay, so I think we are okay now. So I was saying that these are some of the areas that will always come in exam, and in every past paper that you can check, you'll always get such questions. So I was saying that some of the things that will always come in exam are remote auditing, that is one, remote management or supervision. Those are things that can come. The next one is cyber crime. Cyber crime, we also have that. We also have data protection. We also have cloud computing. We also have COVID-19. We have globalization. Here we are talking about e-business. So somebody is asking a question. Is it because you're not seeing something there? Data next to word. Or the next one, data protection. Data protection. So the first one, remote auditing, remote management, cyber crime, data protection, cloud computing, COVID-19 issues, forensic investigation. So under forensic investigation, we have crowd examination. Crowd examination. Those are some of the things that can come today, because you see now here we have money laundering. Under fraud, we have fraud. I can even separate them. We have number 9, money laundering. Money laundering. What else? We have social engineering. That is number 10. Social engineering. Social engineering. Those ones can come. So I don't know if you have any past paper question. If you have any past paper question with you, just pick any question that is there. Then we can look at it. Any past paper question, just pick any question under current trends. Then or you can share with me the number, the year and the question number. I'm also trying to look for past paper questions that we see what can get. (2018) question 2B. Advanced level or intermediate? Intermediate, eh? So we can share that link. I hope we have the link. Let's just share the link. That is what we are trying to look at now, Mayom. Emerging issues, they keep on changing. So we can't have it in the syllabus. When you look at your textbook, or even in the syllabus, they just say emerging issues, but they will not tell you which areas. They will not tell you which areas because they keep on changing. They can change the syllabus last year, for example, the way they did. Then today there's another emerging issue that you need to update yourself with. So they keep on changing. So what we basically do, you need to be very active in terms of what is going on around your environment. So these are some of the things that are going on currently that might come in exam. We have remote auditing. Those are challenges that have come with COVID-19. We have remote working or management where people work at home. Then we also have cyber crime that has increased of late. We have Data Protection Act that has been passed in Parliament. So we have issues to do with the data. Then we also have cloud computing and the challenges. Where now even for example, right now we have something like we have QuickBook. We have QuickBook that is online. We have online QuickBook. So you can be able to transact here, and your colleague from the other side can also be able to post, even from where you are, remotely. Then we also have COVID-19, the challenges that comes with COVID-19. So let's look at the question that she's talking about. You can share with us as well to save our time. Can we share? Can we share? I said that we had a problem with the network earlier, so we couldn't start on time, but I didn't want to miss the class. So for that matter, I'll share with the video with those who will leave earlier. If you're going to leave class because of job, I'll share with you the videos. You can share with us the link or the question. Link or the question. Who has the link for past papers? I've shared the link. So let's look at that particular question, intermediate. Let's look at the intermediate. The good thing with this one, it casts across. So there is nothing like this question can come under intermediate, but not under advanced. They can come from any level. So it is something that is universal. You talked about May 2018, question 2B. Let me share with you that. I have it, I think. Okay, so I've shared that question. I want us to look at it. And even last sitting, just check any question, we'll be able to look at them. But let me share with you this first so that we look at it. Now, this is the question. I'm repeating again. This question can come from any level. So, ukiangalia hivi, even if it is intermediate, don't think that is not yours. It is not yours. Now, the question that she's referring to is this one. Look at that. So that is basically what these guys were setting. Explain the following terms as used in contemporary world. Explain the following terms as used in contemporary world. So, great. I can see you have shared as well. Can somebody try any of this? Who can give an attempt? Who can make an attempt on this? And look at last year sitting, August last year, there was another question for advanced level. Okay, so let's proceed. Now, what is cyber insurance? So we know that most companies, I hope we are all here, most companies are now facing problem of being hacked. So there's a lot of cyber crime. This is where somebody just from nowhere hacks into the system and access the details. So for example, financial institutions like bank, you'll find that people are hacking their key banking system, their core banking system, and even they are able to manipulate. So I want you to understand this first. Let me not share first. So we are talking about cyber crime. That question came from cyber crime. So what normally happens is that the key banking system for a bank, let's say that they have a network, intranet. They have intranet, that is network that is being used by the bank itself. And within the internet, they can be able to communicate. That is number one, where their communications should not be accessed from outside. Then they have their database. They have the key banking system, the core banking system, where they have the record. So you find that in their network, they have the database. And within the database, they also have key core banking system where they have all the records. So core banking system, then within that core banking system, they have database where they keep the records. Now, somebody from outside might want to hack just from the outside. You see the Gmail that we are using, that Gmail is for everyone, right? But then we have intranet, the one that is not internet now. It is only used by those who are inside there. That is why you see some emails like they are written like maybe purity@kcb.com. That particular address, URL address or whatever it is, that one is for intranet. It's being only used by the people within KCB. You cannot create an email like that. So it is the same for even KRA. You will say james@kra.com, or maybe something at maybe company name then .co.ke. Those ones means that they have their own network that they're using. So now somebody wants to access that network. So companies need to have security, where we have security to protect the network. So you have a very strong security here that can protect access of site network. So any outsider cannot be able to access. But people will look for some details so that they can be able to know. You know, there are links that when you get, they give you like address. It can show you where these people are. So you can even come up to the door, like you want now to access, but then you find they have a lot of security here. So those are part of protections that they are having. But if somebody successfully managed, to break that security, when it gets into the main system now or the network, they can really do a lot of damages. They can come up to the database. They can be able to even manipulate figures, you know. So those are actually a threat to security of the data that we have for those particular companies. So companies are now trying to insure themselves against such kind of threats where outsiders can actually get into their network. So they are trying to take insurance against such kind of threats. And this one has happened. You remember, I think it was last year, one of the banks were actually hacked. And what they did, these people are able to get into the system. They manipulated. When they get to the system, they add 00. So you can find that they take one account, add some zeros like millions. So if the balance for that particular account was, for example, 1,000 or even 10,000, they add some zeros, even 3 zeros. So that will be how much? That will be 10 million. If there are 3 zeros, they are able to get into the system and hack it and add some zeros. It will be 10 million instead of 10,000. Now what will happen? These guys can go to any branch or any ATM and withdraw money, all the monies, because now the system recognizes the account to be having balances. System only knows that that account has balances. So you might find that now they are hacking and withdrawing all the money. Or even another alternative way, when they go to ATM, they can hack ATM for a client or maybe the bank, and then the limit that we normally have, the normal limit for ATMs are normally 40,000. 40,000. But when they hack it, they can now have it unlimited. They remove that cap. So any amount that was in the ATM can be withdrawn, the full amount. So first they change the figure so that the system can recognize that the customer has balances or that account has balances. And then again, they change the limit. So these guys can withdraw every amount in all ATMs at night, you see, without system realizing that. So that's a challenge that is always going on, and companies are trying to be ahead of them. Companies are trying to catch up, but those guys are also they are very quick in terms of technology. So the challenge that we have is that people learn after, like banks. They will see what has happened, they now come with protection mechanism or detective mechanism. But now when they are trying to do that, these people think of another way of hacking the system. The same thing can happen with cybercrime. That is another thing that can happen. Like now the war that is going on in the Ukraine, they are trying, we have some people who are now working on internet. They are trying to hack information so that they can know what is happening. So you can also hack information. If, for example, the sender was here of the information, then you are communicating with somebody or doing business, like online business, and then the receiver is here. Now the challenge is the data that has been sent from the sender to the receiver, we are not sure what can happen. So somebody can come and hack the data on transit. This one is data on transit. So somebody wants to hack here this data. He can even manipulate that information or block it so that he can actually try to do what he's trying to penalize you, or he's trying to avoid that kind of transactions. When he does that, obviously at some point you might even go and request that person. What about if somebody goes into the accounting system, the main accounting system for EABL today? Put agenda to EABL, and then he hacks the accounting system. When it is hacked, he can even block everything, so you can't retrieve the data that was there. What do you think EABL can do? To mean a hacker finds a way on communication, online communication? Yes, they do, and that is why when you are using WhatsApp to communicate, they are always telling you that the data has been encrypted. So meaning that they are trying to protect the data from here to here. When a hacker goes in, he cannot understand what is happening. So depending on the developer of the communication channel like WhatsApp, they can actually encrypt it in a way that when it's being sent, it is encrypted. When it is received, it is decrypted. Description means that you now convert it to a language that can be understood. So that when I say like hi, I'm sending you a message like hi, I know that somebody can hack and know what is happening. Yeah, what we are trying to communicate. So it is the duty of WhatsApp to ensure that the data that we are communicating or using, that communication is protected. So they can give a letter, for example, that A to be number 1 or number 25, B to be number 24, C number 23 or 23. So you might find that H is given number 17 and I is number 8. So that when I send any letter, any word, instead of saying hi, it goes like 178. It changes a meaning. So even if you're a hacker and then you meet something like this 178, you don't know what I've sent. That means that is what we mean by encryption. You use some characters to change the meaning. So by the time it reaches here, it reverts back to the real meaning. So it is understandable. It converts back to words instead of letters. So that is what people do when they are trying to protect data, so that whoever hacks cannot understand or analyze the main thing that was going on, the main communication that is going on. Because there are a lot of data protection that we need. We need to protect such kind of data or information that is going on. And so we are saying there are so many ways in which they can use to hack. They can actually hack information that is on transit. They want to know and manipulate so that it reaches with a different meaning. For example, if I'm saying that send me 1 million, it can actually hack and say 101 billion. That, because it's able to understand the meaning, it can actually convert it and make a different meaning. So that is why we need to encrypt so that we send some codes that do not make sense. But when it reaches the receiver, the same WhatsApp is supposed to convert it back to a meaningful word that makes sense. So that when we are communicating, if I'm communicating with my girlfriend or my wife, somebody who is hacking should not be able to know what we are doing, what we are saying. So when you look at your WhatsApp today, they will tell you that the data is encrypted end to end. I know you have seen that. That one is basically to ensure security of the data that we are sending. So that is one way. Another way that they can use to hack is the one that I've told you. They can just get into the core banking system or the accounting system and try to manipulate figures there or cause some sabotage. They can cause denial of service. We call it, in system audit, we call it denial of service. For example, think about a petrol station like Oil Libya. Let's say that somebody hacks their system, and it's a very big company or Total. If somebody hacks their system, they cannot even be able to read from the computers what is going on. So even a liter of petrol, if it is, for example, a liter of petrol 101, it cannot read anything. There will be sabotage. There is no operation at all. They have denied you. They have denied you service. So even WhatsApp today, if somebody tries to hack WhatsApp, he can hack it in a way that nobody can send a message. There is nothing going on. Network imepotea kila mahali. That is also cyber hacking. But that one we call it denial of service. So the main reason for having denial of service is such that they can sabotage the transactions. So they don't benefit like directly or even changing figures, but wanakata information. So there's that stoppage of information. You cannot communicate, you cannot do anything, the whole operation stops. They can do that even for the government. They can go to the systems in the government and then they stop transactions at all. So IFMIS, the main system that we're using for IFMIS, cannot operate the whole country. Or KPLC, if they hack the system at KPLC, then they deny service. So KPLC cannot even read the bills, or Safaricom. So that is what they do. So I was saying, imagine if they do that with the EABL, a big company that is worldwide, you know, a big company, or Coca-Cola, a big company that is worldwide. They cannot operate, they cannot communicate, they cannot access data, everything. You know, even if they don't gain, Coca-Cola will look for them and ask them, please give us back our rights, allow us to cooperate. Now they will give a condition that you have to pay us $1 billion or $100 million, whatever amount. But of course, when the hackers are doing that, they have estimated the capacity of the owners of the company. They know what company can pay. So they will put for you something that they know you can be able to afford. So under the denial of service, main aim is just to frustrate you. You stop the operations and everything is stalled so that they can come and do what? And bargain with you to pay them something. And that happens sometimes. I think last year but one, there is a hacker from Russia who did that to US companies. US had to go and negotiate with the Russian government to assist them look for that hacker so that they negotiate, because they cannot go there and even maybe arrest him or take him to jail. There's nothing they can do, you know. So if it happens, then the only way out is negotiation. You just talk to them and ask them, what do you need? Now, those are the current trends that we are having today. So that one I've just talked about cyber crime. It can happen in different ways. So the question is, if they're telling you, define what we mean by the word, like now in this question, they were saying, cyber insurance. So basically, this one is insurance that protects some of the damages that can be caused as a result of cyber attack. Tuko pamoja? These are insurance that that are intended to protect damages or losses that can be suffered as a result of cyber crimes or cyber attack. Or you can say cyber insurance addresses an organizational liability. It addresses organizational liability when faced with cyber-based risks. It addresses liability, or it compensates or ensures liability when the company is faced with cyber-based risk, cyber risks, such as data breach, data destruction, resulting in loss of sensitive information. So if there is data destruction, data imepotea, it has been breached, it has been manipulated, so there's a loss of some money, insurance should be able to pay on behalf of the company. Then we have social engineering. Now, social engineering, this one I know has happened to you, even me. Have you ever received a call from somebody or callman asking you that he's calling from place planning? Mostly our guys from committee, they always call or text you that your child is stranded somewhere, kindly send on this number, or they're telling you send here, not on this one has a problem, send 500 on this amount. Or they send you a message, they're telling you that you have received 10,000, and then somebody follows with a call, kindly reverse that amount, it was wrongly sent. But it is not actually from M-Pesa. Last year, somebody called me with my business line. You know, business lines, you don't register M-Pesa. And he was telling me that there's a problem in my line. He's calling from Safaricom. There's a problem in my line. And I was asking, so what is my problem? But you see, your line has been registered twice. So we want you to give us details so that we can verify the correct user, so that we give you your line, we remove the other person. It has been registered by Safaricom twice by mistake. So there are things that we need from you. But you see, now they thought that I will give details that can help them attack my M-Pesa account. Unfortunately, business lines never have M-Pesa account. So when I asked them where they're coming from, they were telling me that they are from Safaricom head office, which is in Sarit Center. And we are calling you from Sarit Center, Safaricom head office. Then I know very well that Safaricom head office is not in Sarit Center. And at that time I was in town. I told them I'm coming there at Westland. I know where the office is. Let me just come. So these people will always play with your mind. So from the social, meaning that the way we always relate with each other, they are now trying to change your mind, akili yako, so that they can be able to generate some information for personal benefit. So just like the engineers, they are specialized in doing some technical work or applying some skills to make things work, right? Or to solve problems. Now these guys are using that through your mind. They are doing that through your mind for benefit, so that you can give them some sensitive details or confidential information. Those informations will be able to help them get what they actually want from you. Now, social engineering, you can say, social engineering, you can define like, right, this one, you can say, those are still emerging issues, you know, so there's no way we can even put them because they keep on changing. You cannot put them in a syllabus. So you can say that it is a broad term for any kind of psychological deception. It involves psychological deception. It involves psychological deception or exploitation of human factor, or exploitation of human factor to gain access to confidential information. To gain access to confidential information through psychology. So we have something called email phishing. Email phishing is one form of such attack that are quite complex. So in this case, we need to have the first defense here, we need to make people aware. We need to keep on training. And that is what banks do. They keep on sending you messages. Please don't give this information. Our contact is this one. You don't give any PIN. We can never ask you for your PIN. Such things. Last week, I think it was on Friday. On Friday last week, somebody called me, and I feel they are one of these people. So when he called me, he asked me, I want to speak to Mr. Dennis. They called us through our business line for our audit firm. So they were asking me, they want to speak to Mr. Dennis. Then I'm the one who picked. I said that Dennis is not aware, is not around. How can I help you? Then they were telling me that is Dennis still one of the partners for Z Associate? Then I said, yes, he is, but he's not in. Can I pick a message for him? But I just wanted to confirm something. Maybe you can give me email address. I'll send him invitation for webinar training. So, when I started asking for more details, where it's coming from, he actually cut short the conversation and then he disappeared. So some of these people can always call you and they want to get some details that you might not understand why. They are very clever. They'll always ask you certain information and then they try to inquire where are you located, maybe details of the bank account, want to send you some money, something like that. So those are basically some of the ways they use. Then we have data protection. Data protection. So that one we have done social engineering. It's just about playing with psychology of somebody so that you can get certain details that you feel are very important or maybe for your personal benefit. And I've given you an example of those who call you and tell you that your M-Pesa account has a problem. You give them the PIN, give them bank details or transfer details. Such people, they are very keen to exploit you for personal benefit. Then now, another current trend is about data protection. This one is a wide area that is very important. It is a very wide area that is very important. Today, the Kenyan government, I think in 2019, they passed, in 2019, yes, they passed Data Protection Act. Most countries are now passing this act. There's an act that has come in. So the countries are trying to pass such kind of acts. The main thing is so that they can protect data that you are giving out. This act tries to protect customers. Like now, for example, you are going to a M-Pesa shop, right? And then they ask you for your ID, phone number, and then the amount that you are paying. Then they leave that details in their book. They normally write in that book. How safe is that data that you are giving them? Those information that you normally give and leave with the M-Pesa guy, how safe are they? These guys are even able to use your ID and register M-Pesa line. And then they can even take maybe M-Shwari or Fuliza with your line. Do you know that? That you might be here, but your line, you have so many M-Pesa lines working outside there. How do you ensure, how sure are you that those data that you're giving or information that you're giving are secure? One of the examples that has happened of late is Huduma number. Huduma number was taken to court and they had so many challenges because they picked a lot of information from people that they could not explain what they're going to do with them. And so the question that we had, or people had as Kenyans, what are you going to do with this information? They ask you a lot of things, but they are not telling you, kitu itasaidia aje. So because of that, this particular act was used as defense to protect so that Huduma number cannot start functioning. Because people were saying that you took a lot of information, but you're not telling us how it is going to be secured and what you're going to use with it. So the act basically, it comes in to solve the questions of who are you giving the information? How is it going to keep that particular information? For how long is it going to keep that information? You need to tell you how long. Is it for 15 years, 10 years, and for what purpose? Why is it looking for every information? If you ask me for my ID number, you ask for phone number, you ask for my email address, physical address, education level, those are data that you're picking from me. I need to know why you want it, for what purpose, for how long, how safe is it going to be there, for what benefit is it going to benefit me, and what if you breach it? What if you give it to third party? Are you aware that I can sue you? So today, if somebody calls you a stranger and then it starts telling you a lot of things, you can ask him, where did you get my information? If he tells you where you got the information, if you gave that information to a trusted person, but that person has not kept it well, then that person you can actually sue. For example, you go to bank or M-Pesa, You have given somebody so much information about you. Alafu unasikia ati amepeana hiyo information somewhere else. Somebody is calling you or is using that information somewhere else. That is breach of the Data Protection Act. Meaning that you trusted this person with your information, but is now trying to do what? Misusing that kind of information. You can actually sue the person that you gave the information. So that is a very important area. So what does it mean? The Act tries to protect people in terms of the data that you are giving. Write this one down, other data protection. You can say, when considering data protection, audit committees often, or that is, we are referring to a situation where the company has a policy to protect data. So the audit committee in that company, that is what we are referring to. So we are saying that when considering data protection, audit committees often receive from management a list of security programs that are in place. Audit committees normally receive from management the securities of data, the security programs that are in place to protect customers' data. So it is the aim of the organization. It is the aim of the organization to ensure that the client's data are always protected or safe from misuse. Safe from misuse. So basically, it is about ensuring that the data is kept safely and not misused. We have another one called remediation procedure. Remediation procedure, that is the next one here, as you can see. Remediation procedures. So sometimes you might find that there is a risk that the company has been involved in. Yeah, so maybe there's a loss that company has suffered through maybe as a result of data protection, there's loss or cyber crime or social engineering. So the company has lost something. Now, the question is, what is the company going to do about it? It has happened. The company needs to come and look at what was the weakness that made the company lose such kind of money or data or information. Now, that post-mortem is what we call remediation procedure. It comes after the loss. Then now the company needs to sit down and come up with a post-mortem. That is called the procedures that you're going to follow after the loss, so that we try to understand the reason why they have happened and how we can protect that going forward. So you can say under remediation procedure, audit committees get involved in a post-mortem follow-ups review. Audit committees normally get into post-mortem. That is fine. As promised, please share the video. I will. Okay, I'm going to share the video. That is fine. Just go and work. I'll share the video. So. Sorry for that. I know we started late. The network was down, but we can't miss class. So I'll share the video. Just send me your email address in the group where we are after class. So we are saying under remedial procedures, these are remedies, from the word remedies. What do you do to protect a recurrent of the same event, to prevent future occurrence? Remedies. So that is where the word comes from. Remedies procedures, or procedures to protect such kind of occurrence again. So we are saying audit committees get involved in a post-mortem follow-up reviews, sometimes even going beyond the standard oversight role in order to understand what went wrong, to ensure remediation, compliance, and probe other areas of vulnerability. I will just send me the email on that WhatsApp group where you are. So these are post-mortem that the committees, audit committees, or the organization carry out to understand what went wrong and the vulnerabilities, the weaknesses that can actually exist in the company to avoid future occurrence of the same. So those ones I think are well understood. Then we have now, let's come to remote auditing. Remote auditing. I want us now to look at advanced level paper question. There's an advanced level where the question came from last sitting in last year, which I want us to look at. And I told you these things, you'll not get them sometimes in syllabus, in our syllabuses. Wameandika to current trends, but they will not tell you which one exactly are they referring to. And most teachers do not even teach those ones. Let's look at these. Unaona hapa sasa? Look at this. Number 3. This is August last year, August 2021, question number 3. August sitting, question number 3. Ndio hii. Or September, ilikuwa September 3rd, sawa. September 3rd, 2021. Advanced level, as you can see, this one is advanced level, but the question cuts across, so you don't worry. They are saying, following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, with its associated uncertainty and crisis management requirements. I'm repeating, following the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, with its associated uncertainty and crisis management requirements, internal audit is now an interesting position to guide organization through a completely new landscape of risks. It is evident that new trends have emerged in internal audit that will change the way audit is perceived for years to come. In the context of the award statement, explain how the following recent trends are transforming the audit landscape. Sasa hiyo utapata wapi kwa syllabus? COVID-19, nani alijua itakuja? Now, do we know artificial intelligence? Who knows that? Who can tell me? I want to unmute somebody to talk. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, who can explain? Because of time, I want to just give you a summary. A brief summary or explanation of what happens. There was a company in the US that was very well managed, but this company used to have, was it US or UK? This company used to have somebody who was senior. That person was so much experience in whatever he was doing. Like today, I don't know how you are in your place of work, but maybe you are the key person that people depend on. So this person worked in that company for some time, and then later he had to go home because he was retiring. So he was going home with so much knowledge in him that nobody else knew what was happening. Nobody could do exactly what he was doing. Now, when he was going home, the company became stressed. The management were wondering, now, if this person leaves, how can we continue? How will we take the knowledge and skills and experience that he has and remain with it behind? Because it's the key person here. Are we together? Now, because of this, people started wondering, what can we do about this? So they were thinking, before this person leaves, because he's retiring, can we create something that can actually perform what he did? His intelligence, his knowledge or skills. Can we now remove it from him to weke mahali kwa machine so that that machine can do exactly what it was doing? So they decided to create something that is quite similar with the human being in terms of characters. And that is the origin of artificial intelligence. The word artificial means that it's man-made, but intelligence, that means that something that has skills, or behavior like human being is intelligent, somebody who is very clever, who can perform like human being. So they were trying to think of bringing something that is like that on board, right? Now, the same thing has now been evolving, and even when COVID-19 came, Chinese were using remote, they were using drones to supply drugs. They were using remote to even move drug from one hostel to another, one hostel bed to another. They could serve people food using remote. Because now with COVID-19, Chinese feared getting into contact with anybody. So they would just give or even deliver drugs using those the remotes. So now they were making or coming up with artificial intelligence doctors that can come and even do such kind of services that nurses should have done. Now that is how the world has changed today. Now people are actually fighting in the Ukraine. And when you read, like today in the morning, I was watching the news online. There is that channel for India. They are I think they are very close to those guys, Uko. I don't know, but they're so much concerned because they are saying the technologies that they are using, they are co-owned with Russia. Even they are fighting machineries, the war machineries, they are actually using the one for Russia. And so they were saying that Russia has actually evolved. And today, the kind of bombs that they're using drone. They are not using those the helicopters that they used to use or planes to go and attack Ukraine. Because what will happen, they would actually be killed. Those guys will shoot the planes, kabla wafike. So today they're using artificial intelligence machines or planes that has such kind of systems within them. So they're basically using drone to attack, to drop bombs, to hit. Those are the things that are now happening. If you watch online, you'll be able to see. Now that is how human being has become so much intelligent that he can just stay in the house, use his remote, send. And they are saying that it is called super missile, something like that, super missile. It can actually move 2,000 kilometers per hour. That is the speed. Speed at 2,000 kilometers per hour is far more than from Mombasa to Uganda border. It is far more than moving from Mombasa to Busia border. That drone is moving at that speed double. It can go to Mombasa to Busia and then come back to Mombasa within 1 hour. So that is the speed. That is the speed. The normal plane that we have from Mombasa to Nairobi takes 45 minutes, all right? But now that one is moving at a high speed that it can come from Mombasa back to Uganda, Mombasa to Uganda and back, or border Uganda, and then back to Mombasa within 1 hour. Now, that's the kind of technology that we come up with. And now we are saying banks are now reducing the number of tellers using the artificial intelligence. When you go to banking or like even cooperative bank, I went to cooperative bank, one of their branches in Tomboya. The ground, or even KCB, go to even KCB Tomboya. The ground floor where tellers used to be are empty. You go there, they are telling you what transaction do you want to do? Go to our ATM. You can be able to deposit money there and get receipts. So they are trying to reduce this kind of artificial intelligence to reduce the number of transactions that we are doing and even reduce the number of staffs that we are having, all right? Because this thing can do exactly what human being is doing. So there is no need of employing people, right? But then it comes with challenges. People still want that touch. There are people who believe that if they don't go to banking on, they are not banked. They want to see the physical touch of a service provider. Ukimwambia fanya mobile banking at home, come and do your RTGS using our machines or deposit cash, wanakata. People don't feel that. So those are part of the challenges. Another thing, this artificial intelligence, some of them cannot ask queries that you want. For example, you call today, somebody will ask you, call Safaricom, and then there is a machine that will ask you what problems you have. You know, you keep on following some. Inafika mahali unapata ile shida yenye uko nayo, you need real human being to sort you, not that machine. Inakupea zile options that cannot help you. So those are challenges that we have with artificial intelligence. They are so strict, they only do what they are meant to do or programmed to do, but they cannot extend. They are not flexible like human beings and extend. You see, those are challenges. Now, companies like that because they don't get fatigue. These things work throughout. They don't go for holiday. They don't need salary. They don't get fatigue. You know, that's the advantage of using such kind of artificial intelligence. Now, you now know what artificial intelligence can do. They do exactly what human being can do, right? Let's look at the question now. So the question is saying that following the outbreak of COVID-19 with its associated uncertainty and crisis management requirements, internal audit is now in an interesting position. Interesting position, meaning that it's a challenging position. You know, it is not something that is very funny. Internal audit function is becoming difficult because you are going to audit people who are working remotely at home. That is so interesting. It is not funny. So it is in a very interesting position to guide organization through a completely new landscape of risk. This is a new landscape of risk where you are actually going to audit activities and audit risk or perform risk assessment of employees who are totally not there with you. You are the internal audit, auditing people who are not even there physically. You don't even know what they're doing. Very interesting. It is evident that new trends are emerging in internal audit that will change the way audit is perceived for years. Now auditors are using new trends, but just forget about that kidogo. Come to the requirement. It says, in the context of the above, explain how the following recent trends are transforming the audit landscape. Artificial intelligence. Use of artificial intelligence. Like COVID-19 came, the banks removed tellers, they have machines being used, people are able to operate remotely. Now, auditors are here, auditing remote work, auditing the work that has been done by artificial intelligence. So how does this change the landscape? How will the auditors go through this? What will auditors do? So in this case, you try to look at some of the advantages. You try to look at some of the approaches that auditors can actually take to be able to solve problems, and even the kind of risk that they are trying to exposed to. So the question is asking, in the context of the above statement, explain how the following recent trends are transforming. How are they transforming? Meaning that use of technology, how do they change the work of auditors? What are auditors doing now? What are auditors doing now because of changing technology? Can somebody tell me what are auditors doing now? With changing technologies, what do you think auditors are now doing? Internal auditors, you are not auditing now human being. Sasa maswali kama hizo, you will not get them anywhere until you pick an exam. And the good thing, because it is a new trend, every answer that you give that is relevant is a tick. They do audit remotely. Yes, they now try to do audit remotely, following the audit trail. They are looking at records because there is no that physical audit. So they have to look for audit trails through the records of transactions that have happened. That's how things are now changing. Now, again, the auditors are now trying to, they get data on soft scan and get into the information. Yes. Now, auditors are now looking for other evidence, other ways of getting evidence for audit, because they are not there. People are using artificial intelligence. They're using systems to operate. So the auditors cannot be able to follow the normal audit trail where we used to have paperwork. Hakuna paperwork. So what we are now looking at now, the login details, the transactions logs, you see, those are the things that we are now doing. And even now, we are trying to think about cybercrime. Now that we are using a lot of system in transactions, how can people hack? Is there a risk that somebody can hack our artificial intelligence? Like now, when you are depositing money in the bank and the ATM is able to credit that in the account, can somebody hack that ATM? Those are the things that auditors are now thinking of, trying to ensure that they do risk assessment in terms of the cyber security that relates to such kind of systems that we're using, right? We also have challenges with the internet. Auditors are now thinking of, what if the internet fails? Will transactions still go on? With the human being, if internet fails or network fails, they will stamp for you. Lakini if ile machine How will you even get your receipt? How will you verify that you've done transaction? Or will you go home? You don't do transaction. Those are things that auditors are now trying to think about. So you're talking about this shared box in the organization, anyone can access. That is also true. That people are now having a shared box where you can actually do transactions and you can be able to monitor from the other end. Kifanya transactions, auditors are now trying to, because of remote transactions, they now try to come up with a shared box. There's one that somebody told me to download in my machine here. Let me see, it is called Dropbox. It is called Dropbox. I downloaded it in my machine. So in this one, you can be able to share documents and data, even if you're working remotely, right? Now, that is the direction now, Mayom. That is how to answer the questions. Those are the areas you think about, give your answers, then you'll be okay. Sorry. Okay, now let's look at this another question. So you see, the good thing with this kind of questions, they don't have specific answers. Even in the marking scheme, the markers do not understand. So as long as they know that you know what they are asking, they give you some tick, you can never miss. So the audit approach is now changing. Instead of looking at, like now, how will the trend change the audit landscape? The physical audit approach, where you used to look for the documents, are now changing. We are now using the logs. We are looking at the transactions. We are tracing the transaction records in the system. Again, we are now looking at the security that relates to such kind of systems that are being used. Artificial intelligence is just a system. It is a software that is being used, that has been developed to help do something that human being could have done. So you ask the risks that can associate with that, cybercrime, how can you sort them? Then also, you look at maybe some of the possible failures that can come out as a result of this. Then look at number 2, soft controls and company culture. Soft controls. What do we mean by soft control? When you talk about soft control, the normal controls, they are soft management, remote management. It's called soft control. Yani una control mtu kama hayuko hapo. You control remotely. And that is why I brought this one. Remote management, the same as soft controls. Soft control. You are controlling somebody remotely instead of the hard controls where the manager is there physically, where pia uko hapa physically anaangalia umefanya nini. Now we are controlling at home. And that is where the point that Mayom gave for Dropbox and shared box come in, soft controls. And then we also have there's a system that we have where we used to use it for audit. I don't know the name, I'm just forgetting, where you could record everything. Every day when you are doing transactions, somebody can see how much you have done. Every day, he can be able to see the report. So he can actually monitor what you're doing. He doesn't need to ask you, how much have you done today? No. Anaingia hapo na anaona. Sawa sawa. But of course, there is also a challenge when auditors are auditing remote management or remote management. If you are auditing, transactions are being done remotely, managed remotely, or soft controls, there is a problem with that. Because as much as you can be able to see what I've done, you are not sure about the security of what I'm doing at home. Probably the transactions that I'm doing, maybe I'm processing customers' loan. I have the banking system at home. Remember, immediately I'm away from the intranet. If I have banking system within the intranet, meaning that if the network that I'm using is the one that is connected to the organization, network for the organization, one thing that you are sure of is that when we are implementing or installing this network, there are a lot of security that organization has actually invested here. So there is it is quite safe. It is protected, right? It's very safe. But now, immediately I take the machine or laptop or computer from the organization, I'm using it at home, I'm using a different network now. So there is a risk that I can actually find myself getting into trouble. People can actually hack it because now I'm using outside network. Nimetoka kwa organization. So that is another challenge. So as an auditor, when these things are being controlled at home, people are working at home because of COVID-19. You can get the feedback how much they have done, but what about the security of the data? What about the network that they're using? How safe is it? Can somebody hack it? Because already they are not using the network that is within the organization, which is already protected. They're using their own network, bundles, Wi-Fi at home. How safe is it? That is number one, risk. So again, that would be the most worry. Number two, I can be giving people loan, approving loan here, but I'm approving loan for some directors or even customers are very important. Then, do you think I can actually prevent my wife from seeing what is happening? Nafanya kazi hivi, kidogo kidogo wife amekuja anaangalia, leo kwani leo umefanya kazi hadi saa 7, hujaenda lunch, na sasa hiyo ashaona nimeapprove loan ya mtu mwingine 1 billion. Anasema, you mean these people are taking this? Which company is this? Which customer is this? Amechukua loan ya 1 billion. That is already breach of confidentiality. How safe is the information? But you know, my wife didn't sign any document with the bank that as an employee that will protect everything confidential. Akitoka hapo anaanza kuyumba huko nje akiongea na mabeste wake. Kwanza kusema, you know, I just realized that where my husband works, those people take a lot of loans. You see these companies that you see here, these big companies, they are always taking loan. The one that I saw was 1 billion was taken by this company. Now, again, it could have been something that I didn't even know that she has picked in. But again, that shows that there is a breach of security on data when I'm working from home. But if I was working in the office, things are fine. Another challenge is, if you're working in the office, there are things that we normally say that when you are getting job description, they tell you that your responsibility will be A, B, C, D, and any other delegated duty. Any other delegated duty. Do you know why they say any other? Because sometimes you might have less work in terms of the normal responsibility. Then you can be allocated other work to do. Now, when you are working at home, some challenges are you cannot be delegated those other activities because you utashinda ukifanya hiyo yako peke yake the whole day. You will give report fine, but you've used more time just as zingine you're just walking around, not concentrating or even chatting on WhatsApp, not concentrating on the real work that you're supposed to do. So again, time management can be a problem such that at the end of the day, the amount of delivery that you could have done when you are there is compared to this is different. Mabesti wamekuja wanakuambia mazee, si imefika saa 10 bwana. Twende sasa tukunye kitu. Umeacha, umevaa short, umeenda pale kwa wines and spirit. That time that you are misusing there, if you are in the office, you could have actually utilized it. Yeah. So resources are not being utilized compared to if you are in the house, in the office, right? So those are also changes. So security, the security in terms of data protection, being that is online, threats that it can be hacked, threats that somebody can just leak the information or the printout, or even the laptop can get lost. Anything can happen. The security at home is different from the office. And then the last one is that one, time management. Time management is a challenge. I know even you, if you're working at home, you cannot be effective the same way if you're working in the office. As again, what about consultation? If I'm working in the office and I'm not able to do something, I will always consult my friends who are there and I get easy feedback immediately. But if I'm at home, how can you consult somebody? Ukimpigia na kwambia mimi hata niko kwa gari naenda kwa best yangu. I'm travel, I'm not on my desk. Leo hata nimefunga simu, sasa ngine yako mteja. So you cannot be able to consult and make decision immediately to do the right things. So there are a lot of possibilities of errors because of lack of close supervision. There will be risk of errors you'll make because there is no close supervision. Those are challenges that will be faced by the auditors. they'll be seeing such kind of things. So how do you audit that one? Those are challenges that you'll be facing. Another one, changing regulatory risks. That is also another one. With COVID-19, changes have come. Now you're being told that you have up to Sakumi. You're only working up to 4. Then you run home because of COVID-19. Yeah? Or you're being told that you only go to the office like 2 of you or 3 of you at a time. That office should not be should not be crowded. Those are regulatory requirements. Right now, we are being told that you have to apply first for you to go to Duma Center. With COVID-19, you have to apply online, then you go to Duma Center. Those are regulatory requirements. Or you have to put on mask. You're putting on mask, and at the same time, some people have problems. They cannot put such kind of mask in there because they have breathing problems. They cannot use mask. So imagine that the government has given an order that all employees must put on masks. In your office, you have staff or employees who have breathing problems, they cannot put on masks. How do you balance between the two? Are you going to take the risk on the government side, or you take the risk to kill employee? You force them to use the mask, they die, then you compensate. Because internal auditors should be able to know what can go wrong and how can we prevent it. Now, if regulations that have come in are going to interfere with some of the ways in which you operate, or it's going to increase the level of risk in your organization, those are challenges that we face. Now, these are current trends that keep on coming. So, I think now that you are understanding how you can answer the questions and that remote management, I've also done cyber crime, I've done data protection. I think we can stop from there. We were late by around 30 minutes and we have extended by 30 minutes. So we have actually compensated. I'll be able to share the video to those who could have missed. We shall continue with remote COVID-19. We have also looked at. We shall continue with this topic tomorrow. We shall look at forensic investigation, money laundering, cloud computing, globalization, and remote auditing tomorrow. So it is quite a wide topic, but we'll still continue looking at it. Now we are coming to things like environmental governance, corporate governance. Those are things that are current trends where people are now concerned so much on corporate management. Going concern, we shall also look at, that is a different area, but it is not under current trends. It's not under current trends. So let's look at that. Even data protection. Data in the hand of third party data protection. This is another challenge that is coming in as current trends. The information that has gone to the hands of a third party, it is not very easy to manage. You can be my client today, for example. Then I'll be free with you. You can come and access a lot of information from me. But you are also a client of someone else. You are also a client of my competitor. And you can decide and give him the secret that I'm using. So the question is, how can you control the data or the information that is already in the heads of a third party that you believe in? Those suppliers, those customers, they might know your secrets or productions or some information in you, the way you operate. How can you protect that particular information so that it doesn't go to the competitors? That is third-party data. Data in the hand of third party. There's little control that you can do about it. Those are some of the trends that are actually disturbing our minds as auditors or internal auditors. Those are things that we are trying to think about. How can you manage such kind of data that have gone to the third party? And that is why people say that there is no secret between two people. As long as secret is only the one that you have yourself, as long as you've given it to second person, that is no longer secret. Hakunanga secret between two people because you don't have control over that person. He's also going to tell somebody, like a friend of him, anamwambia, najua hii kitu ni siri, nakwambia lakini don't tell any other person. It is a secret, don't tell any other person. So you leak all the information. After leaking, that person will also give a person information and tell him it is secret, don't tell another person. So up to what extent can we protect this kind of information not to be leaked? So third-party data, like suppliers, some of the things that you can do is to have confidentiality clause. You agree with them and sign somewhere that please, ikitoka ni wewe. So you have a confidentiality agreement between you and that third party. That is one way of reducing such kind of security in terms of the data or information that you use. So otherwise, there are a lot of things that you can do. We can look at in terms of third party, in terms of current trends. Let's meet tomorrow so that we can look at the remaining areas. Same time, same place. Please don't pay when class has started. Some people are calling me now. They are paying 10 minutes to 2 minutes to the class has started. They want to pay. You are really interfering with other people. In Amanisha, we are going to start late because some people are still paying. Lipa mapema. And then this story ya kulipa 100 per class. Ukilipa leo nimekuweka kwa paid group. And then tomorrow inabidi nikutoe. Hata mimi niko na huruma, sitaki kutoa, lakini wewe pia it is good that you know that we cannot operate if you can't support us. So pay in advance, pay 500 for the whole week tumalizane. Sawa. If you miss class, you get your video. Any question? Any question? If there is no question, then let me close the meeting so that we meet again tomorrow. We still look at this particular area. Share email address so that I can give the videos. Those who have joined late or maybe missed.